Immediately after the elections, when it became clear that we'd had a flawed election and a result that was illegitimate, I was a part of the formation of Kenyans for Peace with Truth and Justice, which is a coalition of over 40 Kenyan governance, legal and human rights organisations, along with Kenyan citizens, that have pursued different avenues of action along different fronts for a just resolution to the crisis, to the electoral crisis, and now obviously a way out of the chaos that Kenya has descended into. I think it is absolutely possible for the violence to stop. I think it's a very dangerous viewpoint to put forward, the idea that it's all out of control and it can't be halted, the kind of Rwanda disaster scenario, because the violence that is going on in Kenya is specifically attributable to certain causes and certain mobilizations. Well, over 3 weeks ago, Kenyans for Peace with Truth and Justice identified 4 sources of the violence going on in Kenya. The first was spontaneous anarchic responses to the results of the elections. The violence resulted partly because people were then denied the right to legitimate dissent. There was an immediate ban issued on freedom of assembly and freedom of association. The second source of violence, which was excessive police violence to the extent of subjudicial executions. In the first week following the election, over 100 of the bodies in Kisumu morgue were found to have police bullets in them. The third source of violence was organised militia activity in the Rift Valley, in Western Kenya, and in Nairobi. And that's where we've seen the wave of targeted communal-based violence. And the fourth kind of violence, which is what we're now seeing played out, is revenge, is communal revenge for killings, burnings, attacks that have already happened. Kenyan civil society actually mobilised with amazing speed around the crisis. We had mobilisation for humanitarian relief, we had groups working on peace and mediation, and the voice of civil society has been primarily taken onto the international front by leaders of Kenyans for Peace with Truth and Justice. I do want to say, however, that it's important that people recognise, just as when you had Katrina happen in this country, that it was not the responsibility of individual Americans to provide the humanitarian relief for that disaster. It was the responsibility of the American government. We have a sitting parliament in Kenya. We have a government. Even whether people dispute its legality or not, it is as important, if not more important, for people to put the pressure on that government through the US State Department and the White House to actually act in its capacity as the state. The idea that Kenya is, a Somalia or a Rwanda where the whole of civil society and the legislative structure have fallen apart is a myth, and it's a really dangerous myth for people to take on board.